Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. What is the next step for Bryan Kohberger's defense? I can tell you, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. The prosecution has submitted to the court a deadline, right? A deadline that they want this trial in the summer of 2024. Now the ball is in Bryan Kohberger's court, his defense. Let's talk. What's the next step for him? Will his defense agree and say, hey, we want a trial in 2024, the summer? Or will they create obstacles, illusions? Look at it out there. Look how beautiful it is out there. Prosecution also wants Kohberger's defense to provide all the list of witnesses and all expert witnesses. Will Bryan Kohberger's defense say yes or no? What is the next steps when it comes to this case? Or will, look at this, look how high we are. Top of the world. The prosecution might be on top of the world. On top of the world. Or will his defense free fall? Woo! And crash. Logical question, right? The ball is in Bryan Kohberger's defense court. Will they agree or disagree for a 2024 summer trial? Look how beautiful it is out here. Look at this. I love this place. You know, I come out here occasionally and reflect on the Bryan Kohberger case. I come out here to think the possible scenarios. Seems like the prosecution is sky high. Prosecution on top of the world, while the defense is down there playing catch up. Or will the prosecution free fall and not present this case properly? What do you think? There's still a lot of other unknowns when it comes to the Moscow, Idaho case. Witnesses. Who's going to be the witness? Will they even submit any witnesses to defense? Remember, they haven't submitted any alibi. So it makes me believe that they might not submit any witnesses. And how would that make you feel when you have a trial that could go on 4 to 6 weeks and the prosecution has witness after witness after witness after witness after witness come and testify, and then when it's Kohberger's turn, nothing. Almost like we rest, the defense rests. Like I said, uphill battle. Steps. What steps are Bryan Kohberger's defense going to take? Dirty. Are they going to try to muddy the waters? And when I say muddy the waters, I'll show you. Muddy the waters over here. Are they going to try to create doubt and cast the witnesses that the prosecution presents out to sea and discredit them? Look at this. Muddy waters. Beautiful, but muddy waters. Look, muddy. Ugh. Is that what the defense is going to do? Is the defense going to muddy the waters? Or is this the prosecution going to paint the perfect picture? A beautiful sunset where the victims in this tragedy get justice. What do you think? We just climbed up this, by the way. Isn't this beautiful? Isn't this beautiful? And what about the murder weapon? Where's the murder weapon? Is the murder weapon out there? Does the prosecutor and the prosecution even need the murder weapon? speculation that Bryan Kohberger put the murder weapon in the Snake River, maybe the Clearwater River, down there in Clarkston, Washington area, where his phone was at the next day, the day into the 13th. Where is that murder weapon? The hunt for the murder weapon. Do the prosecution even need it? Is in the water. Let me know what you think. You heard the gunshot? Where is that murder weapon? What about bloody clothing? Prosecution still hasn't found bloody clothing, murder weapon, or any evidence that Bryan Kohberger discarded, hid, disposed of out in the woods, out there. So what path is the Bryan Kohberger defense going to take? Are they really going to take this to trial? Are they going to make a plea bargain? Are they going down the right path with this direction of this case? Do you think they made a mistake when Bryan Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial? But now the prosecution wants their trial. Will the defense want it? Are they ready? Will Bryan Kohberger keep his defense team? Will they go on a new path and change venue? Let me just show you how beautiful this path is. What do you think's going to happen? When I say Bryan Kohberger firing his attorney, will he try to get new attorneys? Will he try to represent himself? What about experts? What kind of experts will Bryan Kohberger bring? What path will he take? And that's the million-dollar question when it comes to the Moscow, Idaho Bryan Kohberger case. A lot of uncertainty. A lot of unknowns. But we can say that he took the wrong path to put himself in this position where he has to try to get on the right path to get out of this mess. Is he at the point of no return? Lost in the jungle? Will he spend the rest of his life in the concrete jungle of a prison cell? Is he headed towards the execution chamber? Is he headed for freedom? I appreciate all of you out there that have been following me on this path, this journey to find answers, truth, and understanding when it comes to the Moscow, Idaho case. We don't know what's going to happen. Even if both agree to a trial, there could be one, the prosecution or the defense take a new path. Change of venue. Bryan suddenly unfit to stand trial. We haven't even talked about that. Will he get a kind of mediation plea like Major John Kaler got, where the victims' families, Kohberger, his defense, and the prosecution all sit down and talk about an appropriate sentence in this case? What about jurors? Will jurors from another county be brought in, or will the case just be moved elsewhere? Is it staying in Latah County? What about the path of William Thompson, the prosecutor? He's up for re-election next year. He's in his 60s. Will he pass the baton on to someone else? It just goes on and on, folks. This mystery in the Moscow, Idaho case goes on and on and on. We are covering it. I think we're on the right path, right? And if you're not on the right path, it's very easy to get on the right path. Follow the trail. Follow the trail of evidence in the Moscow, Idaho case. There's a lot of evidence in this case, direct and circumstantial, that point the finger to Bryan Christopher Kohberger and no one else but him. There's no conspiracy. There's no other people. Only him. Unless you feel like there was someone else in this case that got away. Escaped. Sounds like a brown truck. Like we saw outside the Moscow home, November 13th, on that body cam footage. Someone else's truck. Someone else who did this. Linda Lane footage of someone else. Did they do the crime? And they got away on the path. Will this case go on and on and on? Will there be a medical condition, whether it's from William Thompson or Bryan Kohberger or his defense team? Remember, we've already had a delay in this case, or hearing wasn't held because someone was sick. Will Bryan Kohberger confess and finally admit to what he did? Or do you think there's nothing to confess on because he didn't do it? The swamp. I am JLR Investigates. We will keep taking the path to understand what happened, and I will keep you informed. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. We are covering this case. We will talk soon. Stay tuned.